Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday call. Thank you very much for dedicating your hour to coming here and learning from Mortgage Coach. My name is Dave Savage, and we are absolutely dedicated to your personal and your professional success. Today's call is going to be all about how to deliver more value to realtors. We all know that if we want to get lots of referrals, we got to deliver lots of value. And every time I interview a great loan officer who's self-sourcing their business, that's purchase-focused, they're value creators. They are delivering value. Value equals success. Now, here at Mortgage Coach, we believe that education equals value, and the best way to serve realtors and home buyers is to educate them in a relevant way. So the values that we founded this company on 16 years ago are wow, surpassing people's expectations, using education to wow people, and to do it at a level of excellence. So hopefully everybody on this call, you're sharing these values and you're striving to get there. So no better than to have Rick Scherer out of Boston, who, Rick, I think this is the third or fourth time I've interviewed you on a Mortgage Coach call, but welcome to the call and great to have you.
Thanks, bud. Yeah, it's number 3. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing, how you're doing it. To accompany Rick on today's call, we have his coach, Marc. Marc, how do we pronounce your name one more time?
Manieri.
Marc Manieri. Hey, Rick, if you don't mind, just give a quick backstory on Marc, because this is the first time he's been a leader and a teacher on a Mortgage Coach call. If you could just give us a quick heads up on who Marc is to you and who he is to the industry.
Yeah, Marc reached out to me early last year, and he had this idea about putting top loan officers together, one room, 2 days, lock up cell phones, and disconnect. And, literally I talked with Marc on the phone, booked my ticket to L.A., sat in the room with 7 or 8 professional loan officers from across the country, different marketplaces, and we masterminded for 2 days. And it was an unbelievable experience. At that point in time, I decided I needed a coach in my life. I decided to choose Marc. We've been coaching now, I think, for 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months now. And so he's, we're on a call every week for an hour. I can't say enough about it, but Marc's my coach, and more than just a mortgage coach, he's an overall coach. So that's
right
on Marc.
Right on. Well, I had the honor of meeting Marc at Sales Mastery. He was there to learn and connect with some of his clients, and I just felt he really had a heart to serve and deliver value in the way. Some of the things you guys are doing with Mortgage Coach, the way you're delivering value to realtors, I thought it's just a great opportunity to kick it off today. So, Marc, I'm going to set the table, share a few follow-ups from previous weeks, and then we'll get into the meat of your content. But feel free to jump in and add some color as I'm setting the table for the call.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thanks for being here, or for inviting me to be here. And it's funny, Dave, I'm looking at this picture, and I'm thinking, man, I sent you all these great, beautiful professional pictures of me, and you picked the one that I took very amateur. But, hey, that was on my 10-year wedding anniversary, so that's a special one, too. So thanks for having that out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, no problem. Well, again, given some of the conversations we had, I just thought it was a good picture that positioned you well. So everybody, some follow-up from last week. We had a great coaching call last week, plus we interviewed, Joe and I interviewed Mitch Kiter, one of the nation's top compliance attorneys, and I think it was just a great call. Jacob on our team and our support team spliced all the questions we asked Mitch into 3-minute to 6-minute sound bites. So if you don't want to listen to the entire hour, pick the question that you want to listen to. I had a lot of folks ask me. There was a 6-minute nugget where we asked Mitch, have there been any visible shifts with the CFPB when it comes to MSA arrangements? And the way he answered that, I had a half a dozen different people say, I want that. So I just urge everybody on this call, your mortgage coaches, you believe in education, you believe in being the best, you believe in just doing the right thing. I really urge you to listen to this compliance call so that you can turn some of the compliance changes that are taking place into a competitive advantage. So you're doing business the right way, and it's giving you an advantage in your marketplace. So listen to that call. There's a soundbite. on our YouTube channel. So I also wanted to just draw attention to a playlist that Jacob and I created. If you go to YouTube and you type in Mortgage Coach, you go to the Mortgage Coach channel. If you don't already subscribe to it, click on the subscribe button, and then make note, there's these playlists. You know, there's this core MC education, and some of the sound bites, you know, the quick, tight videos. You'll notice there's 11 videos. It's not 2 hours of content. These are just the basics, you know, how to create a great email to deliver a Mortgage Coach report. They're scripts. They're how to create a great video. And then there's another one we have called Advanced MC Training. So this is 4 videos, less than 30 minutes. So if you've created, you know, less than 20 TCAs for Mortgage Coach reports, this is just some great training to give you the soft sales skills around Mortgage Coach. So this is not data input, how to do a Mortgage Coach scenario. This is what to say before you deliver a report. I wanted to draw attention to this training for everybody on this call that needs it. It's good stuff, so check it out. Also, I wanted to showcase a new feature that we added to RateWatch. So hopefully everybody on this call, you've downloaded the RateWatch app. You've gone to your app store. I don't want to say it's a free app because you're paying a lot of money to be a Mortgage Coach, but it is part of Mortgage Coach services. But we've added a share button. So just wanted to draw attention to that share button in the upper right-hand corner. You know, I am playing just a quick screen share video showing you the RateWatch. Notice that when you turn it sideways, it resizes. You click on the day watch. Notice that you can share the day watch. So there's that share button. You can email it. You can text it. I hear a lot of Mortgage Coach loan officers in the right context that are sharing this with buyers or realtors to drive value and insight. And then I'm hearing from a lot that are sharing it on Facebook. Our team did a really interesting and I think a very cool way in which they put it on Facebook. You can customize your message in the upper top-hand corner. So you put in what you want to say in an email, a text, or Facebook, and then you just press the button and it pushes. So it's a really innovative way in which we have made RateWatch screens shareable to both home buyers and the realtors in a really useful way. So I wanted to call out that option. Again, make sure you notice that you can edit the personalized message. Our president, Joe Couture, is going to, with Tony Blodgett, a great Mortgage Coach leader, is going to do a call next Tuesday. It's just all about how to use Mortgage Coach RateWatch with realtors, with home buyers, and really focus the call around how to use this as a strategic tool. So don't miss next Tuesday's call. And I do want to remind everybody, if you are using RateWatch, if you are getting value from it, if you like it, give us a review. You know, no better way to fire up our development team and all the people in our organization that created this product than for them to hear about how you're using it and what you think of the app. So please, if you're using it, getting value, give us a review. One thing I love about this particular review is that it's not only great feedback, but it's a great teaching on how one of the use cases and how to use this tool. So hopefully that's valuable to everybody. So let's get into the meat of the call and the interviews. We're going to be interviewing Rick Scherer. Rick, for anybody who has not heard you before and has not been on a call or didn't see you speak at Sales Mastery a few years ago, if you could just share what market you're in and a little bit about your mortgage practice.
Absolutely. I'm in the Boston market. I've been doing it for about 14 years, and my team's made up of a sales assistant, a licensed sales assistant, along with a dedicated mortgage processor, and you know, just trying to get to the 70 million mark this year. Hopefully, after the first quarter, we'll be able to rebound and pull out a pretty decent year.
What is your typical, past couple of years? What kind of production levels have you done?
100 and, well, you know, everybody talks about 2012, so let's go there. 2012, about 120 million. Last year, about 65 million, and just looking to beat that for this year, and trying to get to the 70 million mark.
Good. So this is a guy who knows how to do big numbers, who knows how to deliver value, and who knows how to scale it. Has a team. If you wouldn't mind telling your backstory as a mortgage coach, because the way I've interviewed you is you have a really high conversion rate. So the way you use Mortgage Coach with both realtors and home buyers is something that's teachable and others should learn from. But just share real quick, high level, how you're using Mortgage Coach to deliver value.
Yeah, I mean, actually before our call, I just sent out a client that just looking for a straight up 30-year fixed, and went right to the mortgage coach and put it right in there. So every single one of my clients gets a mortgage coach if it's one rate or four rates. So that's just a rule. We don't quote rate without a mortgage coach. And I mean, I can't tell you, and we've had personal conversations just about the jumbo loans that I just convert because just of the presentation. I might even have been a little bit out in rate. So obviously I can't preach enough about the power of conversion when you put a mortgage coach in a video in front of a client. And I definitely use the tracking feature. If a client I haven't talked to in 2 days, check it again. Well, I'm reaching back out to them and I'm grabbing them and I'm in front of mine. So, I mean, I could beat the drum of this whole call, but it just adds to my conversion rate because no one else in my market is doing this. And I preach it to every one of my real estate partners, every one of my clients, and totally differentiate myself in that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll look forward to hearing more about how you're delivering value to realtors. Let's center the call around, how you're delivering value, how you're using Mortgage Coach. Everybody on this call is a mortgage coach, so let's drive realtor value today. So, Mark, we're going to start the call. You have a couple thoughts you want to share just to set the table for how you lead Rick, how you've helped other top producers. Before I pass the screen to you, although I'm going to pass it while we're talking, just give everybody a little bit about your backstory, your vision, your mission, who you are.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So first and foremost, let me just say that we've been planning this call now for almost 2 months, and I'm totally blown away at how much you have invested in this one call. And you sent me a link to some of the others, and I went through a number of the other videos that you've done, some of the other interviews, Dave, and I really just wanted to acknowledge you. Like, I've been interviewed before. I participated in situations like these before, but never have I participated in a way where I've seen somebody so invested in making just this one of however many that you do in a year amazing for your audience. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledged you for that. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm not going to go deep into my history. I want to move to the topic at hand here shortly. What I will say is that having had experience in the mortgage industry, more so my background is on the coaching and the training side. I've been in this space for most of my adult life, for about the last 15 years. And, the one thing that I'll share is that it's been such a pleasure to work with people like Rick. And the reason why I say that, I actually mean that, not just because Rick's on the phone, but before I started working with mortgage originators the caliber of the Rick Scheers of the world, I was coaching somewhere between 25, 30, 40 mortgage originators at a time, either one-on-one or in small group, who were either just starting out or kind of struggling and looking to me as someone that could help them. And we moved the needle a little bit, but what occurred to me was that, wow, some people are really having trouble getting past their own fear and really actually being in action. So I started to get a lot of questions from people, my coaching clientele at the time. This is probably 2-3 years ago, Dave, where people were saying, hey, every year this Scotsman Guide list comes out, the top 200 or 300 loan originators, like, that volume is just unfathomable to me. Like, what are they doing? And so I got real curious myself. So I actually went out about a year and a half ago, and I've interviewed, now I'm up to probably close to 75 of the top originators who are listed in the Scotsman Guide. And, with the goal of being just wanting to know what it is that they do and that they've done to build their business. And boy, what I found was that these people who produce at this level are committed in a way that others that I've worked with aren't. And so that was a real significant difference that was a huge eye-opener for me. And it was at that point that I decided I want to work with the top 1%. And so over the last 2 years, I've made my way into working with the top 1% because of that, because it was so exciting to me. And now I'm lucky enough to coach 6 or 7 of the top 100 highest producers in the country, including guys like Rick. And here's what's so great about it. Guys like Rick, when we talk about doing something, they go and do it, and they get committed to it. And as a result, you start to see numbers that Rick was sharing earlier. So that's just a little bit of my backstory. There's way more to it, but I don't want to cloud the call with my history. So we can make a shift into the presentation now, but that's just a little bit more about me.
Good. Well, go ahead and grab the screen and walk us through some concepts and ideas to help us all deliver more value to realtors. And Rick, feel free to jump in and add your color and perspectives along the way. Go ahead, Mark, grab the screen. We see it.
Perfect. You got it?
I see it.
Okay, perfect. So, you had the slide earlier, Dave, value equals success. And I love that. And so what I've done here is I've backed this up a little bit. And so I totally agree. It totally aligns for me that when you create value for someone, you've got success. And we're going to show you some really great examples, very specifically in Rick's business, of what that actually looks like. But what I did here is I backed it up. And I said, okay, so how do we actually create value? And, you titled this webinar, How Not to Be a Blah, Blah Loan Officer. And I just, I love the way you position that. And so in my experience, Dave, what I found is when you go present yourself to a consumer or to a realtor or any potential referral partner, oftentimes that presentation is focused on the value proposition. What's my value proposition to somebody? And when we look at it that way, when we look through that lens of what's my value proposition, automatically we miss something really, really big. And what we miss is what is really going on in that prospect's world. And so if we are just simply centered on our value proposition, when we go to somebody and we say traditionally, hey, look at me. I can give you an accurate sound pre-approval. I'm a great communicator. You're going to get updates during the process. I'm going to offer a really great experience for your borrower. We're going to close on time. I've got great rates and great products. All that's great. Well, when we put ourselves in the shoes of a realtor or any other referral partner, from that standpoint, it's like, great. So what you're telling me is you can do your job. So it's almost like that's expected, right? So in some cases, that is going to be value. For a real estate agent who is dealing with a loan originator that can't close on time, and then you can actually say, I close on time and then demonstrate that, yes, that's value, because the context for them was that they were working with somebody who couldn't close on time. But 9 times out of 10, in my experience and in the experience of my clients, that's not actually value. So value equals context. It's what's real for someone in their life at that point in time. So Dave, if you're willing to play with me, I want to demonstrate this. All right, you willing to play with me?
I'm ready to rock.
All right. Okay, so did my screen advance? You can see what's up here, right?
I can.
Okay, Dave, so what is that?
A safety pin?
The safety pin, yeah, good. So Dave, imagine, and I'll get everyone who's just listening to put themselves in Dave's shoes for a moment, and imagine, we're sitting face to face, right? And I pull out of my pocket a safety pin. And I say to you, Dave, hey, by the way, I want to let you know that I'm selling safety pins today. And hey, you know what? I normally sell these for $10, but I'm actually going to give you a 10% discount. So it's only going to cost you, what is that, $9? So look, Dave, are you in? You want this safety pin for $9?
Yeah. No.
No. No. Okay, you don't. I tell you what. I'm going to do something I've never done before, Dave. I'm going to offer this to you right now. We're sitting in front of each other, just having this mortgage coach conversation. I've got a safety pin. I'm going to give it to you at a rock bottom price for $1. Are you in?
No.
No. How come you're not in, Dave?
Because I don't need it. I don't know you well enough to want it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So now, Dave, let's change the context. So imagine, Dave, that you're somewhere actually that in a position that you've probably been in before, but we're going to duplicate it again, and you've just been honored by, I don't know, let's call it the greatest mortgage society. Yeah, let's just call it the Mortgage Society. And the people that are in the Mortgage Society are companies and individuals that cater and offer products and services to the mortgage industry. And you've been honored as Mortgage Society Person of the Year, and you're backstage, and you're about to go speak in front of 1,000 of the highest producing mortgage originators, branch managers, owners, CEOs, and presidents of the biggest and the most successful mortgage companies in North America. And it's 30 seconds, Dave, from you going on stage, and you're going to fix your microphone, and guess what happens? You realize that, holy cow, the button on your pants is broken, and your zipper's broken, and you forgot your bells at home, and you thought you'd be okay because you'd be behind a podium, but you know what? There's no podium. And guess what? You got really colorful underwear on, right? So all of a sudden you bump into me backstage, right? And I said, hey, Dave, it looks like you got a problem there. Hey, man, I'm selling these safety pins. Dude, it's only $100. 10 seconds, Dave. 10 seconds until you're on. Are you interested in what I'm buying now?
Well, I don't like you because you didn't give it to me and you want to charge me money, but I would buy it.
Yeah. So all we did is we changed the context, right? And so, a very simple example, obviously, and I'll go ahead and advance the screen so people don't have to look at somebody having their pants around their ankles. But, we want to move past our own value proposition, because if it only is our own value proposition, we're missing the mark on perhaps of 90% or more of what's possible to be value for someone else. And so if your value proposition is those ideas that I mentioned earlier, you can close on time, you're a great communicator, you can give a sound pre-approval, et cetera, there's a good chance that that is just what somebody expected. And if that's what they expected, then how they look at you is you're the same, you're a commodity, and it's what I call non-value. So how you create value is uncovering, unearthing the context of your prospect's life. So what is value? Value is context. Now, every once in a while, what might be value for someone is that you can close on time, you're a great communicator, you've got a great mortgage product that nobody else offers, et cetera, et cetera. Every once in a while, that might be true. But in my experience, and I know in Rick's experience, who's going to talk about this in just a second, and the experience of several of my other top producing clients, that's not what value is. Value is being able to move them forward in an area of their life that they're struggling in right now. That's pain for them, or helping them achieve a huge goal or capture a huge opportunity that's at their fingertips. So we want to talk about what this actually looks like, but before I shift and actually talk about here's how you actually do this and what this looks like, I just want to give you or Rick a chance to jump in here if you've got anything that occurs to you that you feel like you want to say to the group.
Rick, I'll give you the first shot.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, I've spent many years in front of real estate agents saying, hey, I'll do a good job for you, or I can close early, my rates are great, but it's the same blah, blah, blah. So, again, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say is so often, because I've trained a lot of loan officers over the years, and I've trained, hundreds, thousands of loan officers with Mortgage Coach, And so often it's what you say and how you uncover the pain and the problem before you deliver the advice that matters. It's almost like how you pre-frame the story is more important than the story itself. So, one question that I have coached loan officers for years, not enough loan officers ask it, but if they ask this question, it creates context when they deliver advice, is every loan officer asks, how long do you think you're going to have this mortgage, or how long do you plan to keep this house? And again, a great context question so they know how to deliver, leadership and advice around a 30-year versus a 5-year or what have you. But not everybody asks, how old do you want to be when your home's paid off? And most people will say, oh, if they're 30, I want to be 50. If they're 40, they want to be 60. And then you ask them, how old are you going to be based on the loan that you're in or the current trend? And usually it creates a 5 to 10-year gap. So you created that context. So I guess as you kick this off, I love the way you did it. I also want to drive just a real tactical training to everybody. When you are delivering mortgage advice, whether it's a realtor relationship or a borrower relationship, what questions are you asking so that you can, create the context and the gap to deliver value? But that's what came to my mind, Mark. Look forward to hearing where we go from here.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love the word you use that I heard you say, that you can bring leadership to an individual or to a situation. And Dave, that really resonates with me. So I'll connect that dot here in just a second. So what's happening when you're someone who is, let's say, in front of a real estate agent or consumer for the first time, and it's the first time you're getting together and they're a prospect, is you've got two human beings, and because you don't really know each other, and I mean, even if you got referred, it's better, but you still don't really know each other. You still don't know the person's context. You still don't know what's actually valuable for them. What you've got really in the way is a wall. And if you're only delivering your standard value proposition, the value proposition that you offer to everyone else, this wall never really comes down. And it doesn't mean, by the way, that if you deliver your standard value proposition, that you're not going to, perhaps connect with somebody or plug a hole in their world or provide them something that, they need. But it is going to be very, very transactional. And if you're looking for, somebody really, really long-term, which I think you'd want, we were talking before this call, and I won't want to steal too much of Rick's thunder here, but one of the things that we've created is this idea that, hey, I've got something very, very special that I do, and I've only got room for doing it with 15 real estate agents. And he brings them in behind this velvet rope. And so, if you're not connecting with someone in a way that I'm going to show you in just a second how to connect with them and bring down the wall, what it's actually like is, people in different worlds. You're a totally different fishbowl from them. Like, they can't even really hear you because they're hearing what it is that you want to say as opposed to listening to you as if you're speaking directly to them. And that's the place that you want to get. You want to get to a place where somebody can hear you in a way where they feel like, oh my gosh, there's nobody else in the world. What this guy is saying is it's like there's nobody else on the planet right now. And if you're not doing that, there's a wall between you, and more likely than not, it's like you guys are in separate worlds. And so what we need to do, is we need to have and take leadership inside a conversation when we're speaking with someone. And what that means is that we take this agenda that we have, right? We've got this agenda, and we've got it on, and everybody picture a backpack. And inside this backpack is your agenda, and your agenda is likely, well, you want this person to hopefully see how good you are. You want this person to see how you're different from everybody. You want this person to think of you as somebody that they can trust. And at the end of the day, you want this person, if it's a realtor, to send you a deal. And you want this person to send all of their deals. So that's all wrapped up in a nice little package, and it's in your backpack. Well, you can't bring down the wall and connect with somebody and really unearth their context if you're speaking to them through your agenda. So what you've got to do, and here's that word leadership, Dave, is you've got to summon some courage and take off your backpack and leave it on your side of the wall, prop a ladder up and climb over the wall and go get in their world without any agenda. And you do that by asking some very, very strategic questions. In fact, there's 5 things that I would invite you to think about if you're going to leave your agenda behind and really create the opportunity where you can go get in somebody's world and unearth what their context is. And so these are the tactical things you would consider if you were going to climb over the wall and go get in somebody's world in a way where after they've been in your presence, they sit back and they say, wow, like that was so different than what I'm used to. Like this guy was real. This guy really cares about me. This guy is interested in me. Not interested in just telling me what I want to hear so he can get something from me. And there's a huge difference there, Dave. And based on our conversations that you and I have had in the past, I know that you get that. So everybody can read the screen here. There's 5 steps, and I'll talk really briefly about this. But I think now would be a great time for Dave, you to interject anything that occurs to you based on what I shared. And then also, I really want to invite Rick to join the conversation here and share how he's taken this concept. And I might add that this is something he and I have been coaching for 4 or 5 months now. It's something we've been working on for months. And it's gotten to a point where he's pretty close to perfecting it. And it'd be really great for Rick to share how he's taken this, shaped it into what works for him, and then demonstrated how it's made a huge impact on his business. So either one of you, whoever wants to jump in first, go for it. But
I'll say something quick, and then we're about 33 minutes into the call, and I think you've just done a great job of really setting the table, helping everybody through metaphors and stories, see what a difference it is between asking great questions before you deliver your value. So this is fantastic. So I really, at this point, two groups that I want to hear from is, first of all, everybody on this call, you're a mortgage coach and you believe in context, you believe in education. So please, the questions that you're asking that are creating the context to deliver value to a realtor, put those in the question select section of GoToMeeting. So let's one, be learning from each other and sharing those questions. And then 2, Rick is the mortgage coach on today's call. And I think it's just a great opportunity for him to speak to what he's doing and how he's doing it to deliver value to realtors and kind of following the steps that you put forth, Mark. So Rick, you're up, man.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. And again, I apologize for my voice. I'm just getting over a cold. But yeah, the idea sort of dawned on me flying out of Palm Desert after seeing Tom Ferry speak and being out there with Mark and sort of running some ideas by. And really, when Tom Ferry was up there, he showed a slide which was fill in your gaps. Okay, it was essentially 14 questions or 14 sort of areas in which real estate agents, have play in, the organized database and contacting database and online lead generation, and so like I said, there's about 14 of them there. And what we decided to do when we came back was to create this into a sort of little questionnaire and essentially throw up the velvet rope and start at the top, my top producers, and go all the way down by 15. and schedule essentially 2 meetings with each one of them. And I said to them, it's going to be a business building meeting. So I'm not going to tell you anything beforehand. Let's just go. We sit down, and I asked them to be extremely transparent and be honest, and give me as much information as they can, so I can fill up sort of my questionnaire that I'm filling out. And we really start with how many families did you help over the last 12 months? So really get an idea on where they're at. Are you looking to grow your business in 2015? And what are those goals? And really get clear on what their goals are. And a lot of them came to the meeting with, I don't really know yet. And so you sort of help them with that and sort of try to extract some information, or what did you do this year and do you want to do more, and by how much more? And another key question I ask is, what by meeting these goals, what's that going to allow you to do? Okay, I had one agent say, you know what, we're really, really hoping to get a lake house. Or I had another agent say, we just moved into our house, and we want an in-ground pool. We want to finish the basement, and we want to take the kids to Disney World. So you get really, really deep with them as far as what is getting that goal, reaching that goal. What's that going to mean to you? And where do you want to focus your marketing efforts? Okay, so those are the 3 questions that I hit them with. And I'm taking notes, and I'm not commenting, except trying to probe them for information. And then I go through the 1 through 14 questions about how, from 1 to 10, how are you organizing your database and contacting your database and going right through them and making notes, and really getting into their business and really figuring out where they're falling down. It was surprising to me, out of the 15 I sat down with, there's probably 7 or 8 that just had a database on either Excel or their cell phone or in MLS, or it's so funny. Like I had agents that do over 100 units a year, and they, on 4 or 5, they scored themselves a 5. And they said, you know what, I just haven't gotten to it. I just don't know where to go for it. I don't know what to do. And, kind of going, so you're uncovering all of this context. You're uncovering where they're falling down. And it's so powerful, like how vulnerable they get, where they just sort of tell you everything, and tell you where they need to be financially, and you get really personal with them, and it's game changing. I mean, I've never been in this sort of situation before. Mark, am I sort of hitting everything?
Yeah, spot on, Rick. And we'll get to your follow-up meeting in just a second. But one thing I want to interject is, one of the first things that Rick and I talked about when we talked about realtor relationships or referral partner relationships, we said, I don't want to be in this position anymore where I'm the mortgage guy, and the real estate agent has all the referrals, and they're sort of up on this pedestal, and it just feels so weak and annoying that, like, when I go to talk to them or go prospect a new agent, that it's like it has this energy about it that, oh, here's the the annoying mortgage originator prospecting me, the realtor, with all the referrals, trying to get my business. He said, I want to change that. And this, what Rick has done, and I honor him so much for it, because the way he's brought himself to this is someone who's absolutely left his agenda behind. Like, he's clearly just committed to these people as human beings, not as people that could go make a major impact on his mortgage business. He's done this. He's turned the tables. And these real estate partners now look at Rick as like an expert, as almost a pseudo coach in their life. And I'd love for you, Rick, to finish the story about when you learned about your partner who wanted the lake house, and share what you did and the impact that that's had so far.
Yeah, so essentially when I come back after the first meeting, and you take all of this information and all of the things that they've shared with you, the first thing I did was I sat down on my computer and I downloaded a really beautiful picture of a house sitting on a lake, and I printed it out, color copy, sent a note along and saying, I cannot wait to help you help you move into this lake house. you know, we're gonna crush it in 2015. I sent it, just a handwritten note, sent it to her office, and called me 3 days later, practically in tears, and just said, I've never had this happen to me before. Like, I opened it up, I saw it, an emotion hit me, and you care, and like, I can't wait to meet with you again and get more information and where I can do and how I can, you know, how I can do 20%, 30% more next year. And I've done that on every single one, and every single person has called me personally, and she cried. No one else really cried, but they you know, they sort of said how meaningful it was that you care. And, you know, sort of leaving the agenda behind, a lot of my agents, you know, said to me, Rick, you know, I may feel kind of weird saying this, but I kind of do want to do a little bit more listings. And I'm like, that's great. Absolutely. We're going to help you convert more listings. Well, I know that, you know, well, you don't make money on listings. I'm like, I'm not here for me today. We're here to grow your business, and everything else will fall into place. And so when you start to take away that, yeah, if she does more listings, I might not get as many, but it doesn't matter. And, you know, so really being present and being focused on them. And I can't tell you how amazing the responses have been. And literally, the guy that I was talking with that does 100 units, we're walking out to his car, and he said, God damn it, do you know what you just did? And I'm like, no. Like, we had a great conversation. What do you mean? He goes, dude, you just turned yourself around from, like, the guy we send business to because he just does a great job to, like, a guy that, like, is going to help me hit 115 units next year. Like, that's awesome. That's amazing. And honestly, for me, it's a driving factor. It's like, that's what drives me, is to be able to help them move the needle. And this one guy, he's got 2 or 3 lenders. He says to me, and he said, you know what, if you could move me from a 5 to a 6 or an 8 to a 10 in any of these areas, you're my loan officer. That's it. There's no one else. So, you know, changing it from, hey, I do a good job, well, you should do a good job because that's what you do, you know, to let me grow your business and let me add value to you. And what would it mean in your life if we added 5 more units next year? And I'm going to help you get there. It changes it from you're a loan officer looking for business to you're a loan officer who cares and is going to help them grow, and you have a relationship for life. So,
yeah, beautiful.
So couple things I'd love to add. I mean, first of all, I mean, I think folks on this call, the concept of asking questions and then delivering value, it's not the first time we've heard that, and that's not a new idea. But I think what's refreshing new is just, you know, you just hear Rick, his passion. You hear the framework, you know, be present. First of all, let's just go through the list, everybody. I mean, when you really go into a realtor's office and you're meeting me with someone, are you really present? You know, if you kind of had a scale between your agenda and your presence, what would be bigger on the scale, your agenda or your presence? And I mean, that's a good one for all of us, you know. In terms of going in with confidence around the kinds of questions you're going to ask and the intentionality, you know, creating space, listening. You know, when I look at acknowledgement, you know, the only thing I'd kind of like to do acknowledgement / an experience. You know, one of the things I've built Mortgage Coach on this concept of, you know, talk is cheap and action speaks. When I ask questions, you get something tangible and value back. You know, it's not just an acknowledgement, although I know in the context of the slide, you're really talking about a Q&A section. But I just believe, especially in the world of mobile today, you can ask questions and you can drive experiences and value that says, I listen to you. And again, even as a mortgage coach, everybody on this call, when I do these calls, I'm leading with specific ideas around Rate Watch, around Edge. You know, when I do that, I'm not doing it to say that every person you meet with every single time, you gotta talk about Rate Watch. I'm doing it, you know, context is everything. So guys, we got about 15 minutes left, and I know there's a couple more slides and a couple questions. By the way, while I've gotten some great questions that have been submitted in the Q&A part of GoToMeeting, it's only been about 3 or 4 of you. So please, I would love to get a list of what are the questions you're asking during realtors meetings or meetings with real estate agents so that you create the context to deliver value. So I do not feel like the hundreds of people on the call are really participating. So I want to know, what are the one or two best questions you ask that create context to deliver value? But Mark, I'll let you take it from here, and let's continue.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and just a couple things about what you see still up here on the screen. This idea of creating space for someone. It is value. And so what I mean by that is, how often, and people on this line have likely heard this before, it's the old E-Myth Michael Gerberism. You've got to dedicate time to working on your business so you can be more effective and more efficient while you're working in your business. Like that's a business 101, right? Well, what Rick has done is he's actually created the space for people to do that, and for them to actually think big and to dream and to riff a little bit and to share about what's working or what's not and what they want to create. And just giving somebody the space to actually open up that way is value, because in my experience, very few actually take the time to do that. So you're creating space and you're listening, and they know you're listening when you acknowledge, and the way that you acknowledge, and these are magic words, everyone, is by saying this. What I heard you say is, hey, Rick, what I heard you say is this. And you say it back to them. And you give them the space to say, no, that's actually not what I meant. Or if you've really been listening and you got it right, they say, yeah, that's it. You've got it. Wow. Well, now you've got this incredible context where you can actually do something with it, right? So I put together a list of questions that I've worked on with some of my clients, and these are just a handful of them. And again, I'm just going to leave this up on the screen for a few minutes. We don't have to go through all of them. But some that I really, really like, bullet point number 2. What do you see as getting in the way of you creating X after they shared with you what their goal is or what their dream is? And you start to uncover their context in a way that nobody else has. And by the way, once you have the context, now you can go do something with it, and you should go do something with it. And it's funny, after Rick had his first couple of meetings, he's got these people rated in these 14 sections on a scale of 1 to 10. There's a whole bunch of them that are really weak. And he's like, what do I do with this thing now? I'm no expert on this stuff. And, of course, I help them. But you don't have to be the guru that solves the problem. You can connect the person to an individual that is rocking their world, and has great time management, or send them a book, or send them a link, or send them to a mortgage coach video that talks about the very topic that they're struggling in, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not that you, the loan officer, has to be the guru or the coach or the expert that solves their pain, but just connect them to someone or something or some resource that leads them in that direction, and then follow up on it. Hey, I sent you this book. How's that going? Are you into it yet? What are you experiencing? What is the 1 or 2 big ideas that you took out of that book when it comes to getting more organized or whatever, right? So being that person for someone is going to revolutionize the relationships that you have. And let's be honest with each other. Like, what if you could just go out and have 10 to 15 to 20 relationships where you literally got in their world, you really understood their context in a way that you haven't before, and you brought them solutions to their pain or helped them achieve goals and dreams and capture opportunity? What if you were the hub for them, the person in their life that was the connector to solving all of their challenges and helping them achieve their goal. Like, guys, you get more business than you ever knew was possible. And by the way, I want to say one last thing here, Dave, and then I'm going to bring a challenge to the group, and then that's about all I've got today. The last thing I want to say is, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, that seems like a lot of work. Like, my job is to actually do a great job in the mortgage, not, go solve all these problems for real estate agents. What I want to say to you, if that thought crossed your mind, and it'd be normal if it did, is I hear you. I hear that because I've been in your shoes. I can appreciate that. But remember, you're playing the long game. This isn't like you want to be successful in this business or any business. You're playing the long game when it comes to relationships. You'd be somebody that has a database, and you'd be taking notes on all of your conversations, and you'd be getting real clear about what their context is. And slowly over time, you'd be helping them move the needle in these areas. And one example that resonates for me, Dave, is, 2 weeks ago, I had my second mastermind event where 6, brilliant, top-producing, $100 million producers were together in a room, and it was truly amazing. The energy and the synergy and the chemistry and the ideas and the solutions that flowed, it was amazing. Well, one of the women is somebody that did $180 million last year, and this is somebody that I have been calling on and emailing and connecting with for at least a year, if not longer. And in my first conversation, guess what? Not a whole lot happened, but I asked some good questions, and I uncovered some context. And over the last year, I've sent her some things, a handwritten note here, a book there, stayed in touch in ways that were meaningful to her. And about a month and a half ago, she sends me an email out of nowhere that says, hey, thank you for staying in touch. Some things have shifted in my business. I want to talk to you. And next thing you know, she's a paid member at this event. And after the event, after experiencing me, she's somebody who's become a coaching client. So I want to leave everyone with that thought that I can appreciate that you're not in this business to solve all your real estate agents' problems. That's not what you want to think about. You want to uncover context, connect them to resources that will move the needle for them, stay in touch because you're committed to them as human beings, not committed to them as somebody that you can just get a deal from. If you do that over time, I've seen it, I've experienced it myself personally, you have more business than you know what to do with. So that's the last thing I want to say about this. I want to invite Rick just to say anything that he has about his experience of it, and then I want to leave the group with a challenge, Dave, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, so let's let me drive everybody kind of through a mortgage coach training here, and then the last couple of minutes, let's get into your gift. Rick, feel free to jump in as we go. So just to review what we've learned, value equals context, context equals value. Really review the conversations you're having with realtors. Do you sound like another blah blah commodity-based loan officer? When you think of your presence, your questions, the space you're giving people, the quality of your listening, how you're acknowledging, just rate yourself. Create some intentionality around reviewing your value creation process in the meetings that you're having. When you think about the deliverable that you're giving the buyer as a mortgage coach, while everybody on this call is a mortgage coach, not everybody is delivering mortgage coach every time they connect with a borrower and every time they're delivering value to realtors. Are you a mortgage coach or are you an average loan officer? And if you just because you have it and you use it with some people doesn't make it so. So, this is a great average open house experience, a blah, blah, same as everybody else. Are you a mortgage coach? Are you delivering this value as part of your value chain? So in preparation for this, Rick mentioned how he's been using some of the scripts from the Todd Duncan scripting. So I want to remind everybody that we've got this one-pager that has some of Todd Duncan's great scripts that he's been sharing in his programs. And Rick, I know you said that this was part of your scripting. Is that right?
It is, and I just wanted to add one thing real quick, though, Dave, is, we've talked about getting in front of real estate agents up front and sort of giving all your propositions. What I've been doing on the second meeting with these people, and I'm going back with 2 to 3 ideas on places that they're falling down and ideas on how to get going. After I've Gary V, jab, 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 right hook, I'm giving them value, value, value. Now, after I've given them that value, I've sat down with them and said, now remember, here's my rate watch on my cell phone, and here's what that does. Here's what all the different things I do. Mortgage, commission insurance, here's the script that you need to get more, so that now they're all open to all the things that I'm saying, and they're gobbling it all up. So I've given them the scripts. I've given them the mortgage coach, shown them the app. I've shown them the presentation that they've all seen before. So again, it's just after that second meeting, we're giving them all of this information and this way to grow their business. Now is the time to hit them with why you're different and using the mortgage coach experience.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, guys, we've got a minute left. I want to remind everybody, lots of mortgage coach. Make sure you go through the videos. Make sure that you are using the Rate Watch app. I want to push everybody to make sure you share it on your mobile device. So again, in the right context with the right borrower, but use the SMS feature today and share that with someone. And I also want to urge everybody, use the Facebook share feature for the first time. So customize your message, click Facebook. Before this call, I actually put a post. This was created through the Rate Watch app. I would like to see how many of you mortgage coaches are paying attention. So go to my personal Facebook page, like this, and please use this feature today. Drive this competency from a mortgage coach perspective. Be a compliance leader. And with that said, Mark, you said you had some last thoughts. I want to make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with you. And any last thoughts as we wrap up the call?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So I'm putting up here my email address. And so I have a challenge for everyone. And the challenge is to go out into your world after this call, and sometime in the next week, go be about something bigger than a transaction with someone in your life. And so what I mean by that very specifically is go leave your agenda behind, summon the courage, climb the wall, get on their side of the wall, and go unearth some context and go find out something about a partner, a referral partner. And by the way, this works with anybody. It could be your spouse or your partner or your kid. But go to someone in your life and unearth some context by being with them in a way that you've never been with them before. Go do that and go see what that experience is like. So that's a challenge. And the one final thing that I'll invite anyone who wants to take the challenge a step further is invite you into an agreement with me. And this is something I do with Rick and all my coaching clients is at the end of our call, we have powerful agreements. And agreements are something that occur, not that we say we'll do and don't do it, or that we might do or kind of do or almost do, something that we actually go do. And so I'm willing to play accountability for anybody who wants to play at this level. I'll create an agreement with you that you're going to go out and actually have this conversation in the way that I just requested it with somebody in your life. And if you want to enter into an agreement with me on that, email me at my email address right here after the call and just say, Mark, I'm entering into the agreement with you.
Mark, hey Mark, what's your email address real quick? What is your email address?
It is Marc, M-A-R-C, Manieri, M-A-N-I-E-R-I, @gmail.com.
All right. So, guys, we will have a link on that on our Facebook page. Rick, Scherer, always an honor having you on a call. Really appreciate you bringing value and leadership to the mortgage coach community. And, Mark, I'm looking forward to more calls with you and more conversations of value, my friend. Guys, I really appreciate your time on today's call. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks,
Take
Dave.
care, everybody.